NFL greats see their career end in 3 different ways: in epic fashion like John Elway, from an injury a la Joe Theismann, or after playing terribly. Some NFL legends either regressed earlier than expected, or they just had no idea when it was time to hang up the cleats for good. I'm Justin Fraction, and today we dive into 10 great NFL players who had a horrible last season. We do hope you enjoy this list, and if you do, feel free to click subscribe down below for more cool videos every single day. Number 10, Peyton Manning. Because he retired a Super Bowl 50 champion, we can't put Manning too high on this list. But statistically speaking, his 2015 season was the worst of his storied career. Manning had just 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, being limited to 10 games because of a foot injury. He had thrown for at least 26 touchdowns every other season throughout his whole career, and tossed 30 more in his previous 5 seasons. Manning's 2,249 passing yards through 10 games was also a letdown. But hey, he did retire a champion. Number 9, Ed Too Tall Jones. In case you were wondering, Ed Jones was tall. The 6'9" defensive end was a big part of the Dallas Cowboys' success in the 70s, helping them win a Super Bowl while reaching 3 Pro Bowls. Jones registered 57.5 sacks in his career. This included a pair of double-digit sack seasons. But in 1989, Jones had just 1 sack despite playing all 16 games. He was no longer the ultimate force, but at least he knew it was time to retire after that disappointing season. Number 8, LaDainian Tomlinson. The former San Diego Chargers superstar was the NFL's most prolific running back for some time. LT was the 2006 MVP after rushing for 28 touchdowns and picking up 31 total touchdowns per scrimmage, both records to this day. Tomlinson rushed for 1,000 yards every year from 2001 to 8, but was released after a disappointing 2009 season. LT spent his final 2 years with the Jets. During his final season in 2011, he had just 280 rushing yards and 1 touchdown in 14 games. Not even close to the perennial 1,000-yard rusher we enjoyed watching for years. Number 7, Randy Moss. No receiver had it all like Moss. The gigantic frame at 6'4", 210 pounds, the speed and the hands. Moss was part of the 1998 Vikings and 2007 Patriots teams that set records for most points scored in a season during their respective seasons. Moss led the NFL in touchdowns 5 times, and his 23 TD receptions in 2007 remain an impressive record. Moss's 15,292 yards are the 3rd most in NFL history among wide receivers. After sitting out the 2011 season, a 35-year-old Moss joined the San Francisco 49ers in 2012. He had just 28 catches for 434 yards and 3 touchdowns. Number 6, O.J. Simpson. Simpson is more remembered for starring in the trial of the century, revolving around his alleged murders of ex-wife Nicole Brown and her friend Ronald Goldman. Some do forget he was among the top running backs in the 60s and 70s, though. Simpson, the 1973 NFL MVP and 5-time Pro Bowler, racked up 11,236 rushing yards and 61 touchdowns in his career. But his final season in 1979 with the 49ers was one to be forgotten. The Juice ran for just 460 yards and 3 touchdowns. He averaged 83.2 yards per game in his career, but averaged just 35.4 in 79. Number 5, Jackie Smith. The Pro Football Hall of Famer revolutionized the tight end position during an impressive 15 years with the Cardinals. Smith had 480 receptions for 7,918 yards and 40 touchdowns in his career. But a 38-year-old Smith wanted a chance to win the Super Bowl, so he joined Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys for the 1978 season. Being used as a blocking tight end, Smith didn't have a catch-all season. That almost changed in Super Bowl 13. Sadly, Smith dropped a super easy touchdown pass that would have tied the game. Dallas settled for a field goal and ended up losing by 4 points. Smith retired after a career-defining mistake that capped off an unproductive season. Number 4, Jerry Rice. Rice's 2,895 yards, 1,549 catches, and 208 touchdowns are NFL receiving records that'll probably never be broken. The 3-time Super Bowl champion and 10-time first-team All-Pro put up 1,000 yards in 14 seasons. But Rice chose to play at age 42 in 2004. In a season split with the Oakland Raiders and Seattle Seahawks, Rice had 30 catches for 429 yards and 3 touchdowns. Number 3, Johnny Unitas. Unitas was the first quarterback to run a West Coast-type offense, transforming the NFL into the pass-happy era we know it as today. He won 3 NFL championships with the Baltimore Colts and led them to a Super Bowl 5 championship season. The 3-time MVP led the NFL in passing yards and passing touchdowns in 4 different seasons. But as his career began winding down, Unitas joined San Diego for the 1973 season. Unitas played just 5 games and had 471 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Not exactly going out with a bang. Number 2, Brett Favre. Favre was the NFL's most dominant quarterback of the 90s, winning a trio of MVP awards, 2 NFC championships, and Super Bowl 31 with the Green Bay Packers. Favre was once the NFL's all-time leader in wins, touchdowns, and passing yards before Peyton Manning broke those records. As everyone remembers, the gunslinger kept going in and out of retirement. He had an MVP-like season with Minnesota in 2009 and was a non-interception away from sending them to the Super Bowl. Favre came back a year later and suffered multiple injuries in 2010. He had just 2,509 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 19 interceptions. He threw for 4,202 yards and 33 touchdowns the year before. Favre's career ended after taking a sack during a late regular season game. Surely he probably should have retired a year earlier. And number 1, why a Tittle? Tittle dominated the NFL defenses throughout the 50s and early 60s. He won multiple MVP awards and was the NFL's touchdown passing leader in 1955, 62, and 63. The Pro Football Hall of Famer finished with 33,070 passing yards and 242 touchdowns, but man, his 1964 send-off season was tough to watch. Tittle played in 14 games, yet only managed 1,798 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, and a woeful 12 interceptions. This came a year after posting career best in touchdowns with 36 and a rating of 104.8. What other NFL legends had terrible final seasons? Join us in the comments below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton and we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to Total Pro Sports though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.